Brother-in-law's girlfriend kept making cruel jokes about immigrants. When I finally spoke up, my husband's family turned on me. Hey everyone. Before we kick off today's video, I've got a favor to ask. We've noticed our channel isn't getting as much love lately, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways you can help us out. It's quick, free, and it means we can keep bringing you awesome content. Your support really means a lot, so let's work together to keep this channel growing. Thanks a bunch. Now, let's dive into the video. Hey everyone. Just a bit of backstory for you. I'm a 30-year-old woman who moved to the UK about 7 years ago from the US. I managed to snag a UK passport, thanks to my dad, who immigrated to the States and met my mom there. She actually fled from South America to escape political issues, but she doesn't like bringing it up, so I don't push her on it. After college, I took off to explore Asia and the Middle East for a while, teaching English in places that were pretty rough around the edges. Eventually, I felt this pull to reconnect with my European roots, so I made the big move to the UK for good. Landing in Heathrow was a whirlwind. I came with just 2 suitcases and a backpack, knowing basically no one except some far-off relatives up north. I snagged a tiny London flat that was crazy expensive, but hey, it was a last-minute deal. Those first few months were all about getting my footing, figuring out the tube, and understanding this whole cuppa thing everyone was obsessed with. Turns out, it's just tea. I felt a bit silly not knowing. I took on all sorts of jobs to get by at first: barista at a coffee shop near Piccadilly, hostess gigs at a Covent Garden restaurant, and even walking dogs for rich folks in Kensington. The pay wasn't great, but it kept me afloat until I found something more stable. Eventually, I landed a decent job that appreciated my oddball resume. The people were cool, though we didn't really bond on a deep level. I've always been proud of my mixed background, and it's been a conversation starter for sure. People back home just assumed I was white until I filled them in, which always led to interesting chats. Here in the UK, folks tend to ask where I'm really from, which gets old after the 100th time, but I just roll with it. Anyway, I eventually met the love of my life at a friend's birthday bash. He was this tall, slightly awkward British guy with a knack for terrible puns. At first, I thought he was just being friendly, but then he asked for my number. A few dates later, we totally clicked. He was different from anyone I'd dated before. After a couple of years, we got hitched in a cozy ceremony and decided to buy a house in the countryside. While sorting out the mortgage stuff, his family kindly let us crash at their place. It was a huge change but a wonderful one. His family really took me in. His brother, Matt, became the sibling I never had. His mom would attempt to cook what she thought were my favorite foods, though her tacos were hilariously off, using ketchup instead of salsa. His dad loved quizzing me about America and my travels, even if he did ask the same questions over and over. It didn't bother me, they made me feel right at home. As for Matt, my husband and I were always there for him through breakups and giving dating advice. One woman kept showing up at his work post-breakup, and we had to help him figure out how to handle that without it getting messy. Another time, he dated a girl who seemed perfect until she tried converting him to her strange, cult-like religion. We laugh about it now, but it was pretty nuts back then. We'd hang out pretty much every weekend, movies, board games, you name it. Matt's practically my best buddy now too. I remember us trying to beat a tough video game level until 4 a.m., while my husband snoozed on the couch. Matt's a total rock, always ready to help you move or rescue you when your car breaks down. No questions asked. He eventually met Vicky at some work event, maybe a Christmas party or someone's farewell, can't remember exactly. He was super excited about her and kept texting my hubby for advice. When we met her, she seemed sweet and pretty chill, which was just what Matt needed. Our first proper hangout was at a pub quiz night, where her 80s music knowledge helped us win, and she brought some brownies that were surprisingly good, even with the nuts I usually hate. She fit in perfectly with our crew at first. But eventually, her behavior started raising red flags for me. I tried brushing it off because I didn't want to rock the boat with my husband's family, but it was tough to ignore. It started small, like these little comments she'd make that didn't sit right with me. I didn't sound American, or get told I was pretty for a Latina, but I just laughed it off because I couldn't tell if she was trying to be rude or if she just didn't know better. I remember once we were all out for drinks at this new cocktail spot near my in-laws' place. They had these fancy drinks with funny names, and when the waiter came over, Vicky loudly said, "I'll have anything that's not as foreign as her accent," pointing at me. We all kind of chuckled awkwardly, and I just smiled and ordered my drink, but it felt really off. Another time, at dinner, I mentioned being Latina, and she said, "Well, at least you're not a dirty Indian." My husband Matt and I usually appreciate some dark humor, but that comment almost knocked me out of my chair. None of us really thought she meant to be so blunt because it came out of nowhere. She was going for a joke, so we all laughed, but it was clear we were uncomfortable. I should have spoken up then, but I didn't want to make a scene. I remember looking over at my husband, and he had this really uncomfortable look on his face. My mother-in-law quickly changed the subject to something about the neighbor's new car, and we just moved on. Later that night, I asked Matt if he thought it was weird, and he agreed but suggested maybe she just had a weird sense of humor and didn't mean anything by it. Another time, I took Matt to Turkey for his birthday and sent a video to our family chat of him sunbathing by our hotel's pool, with the sound of the call to prayer coming from the Blue Mosque. I thought it perfectly captured Istanbul's vibe. Her response was, "That sound would freak me out," kind of hinting it was like a bomb threat. It made me feel sick that she'd joke about something so culturally important. I get that she's never been to the Middle East, so I took the time to explain to her what the call to prayer is and how it's actually beautiful. I sent her a voice note explaining its cultural and religious significance and even sent her a few links about it. I tried to be patient and educational rather than confrontational, but she just replied with "lol okay" and changed the subject to a sale at a clothing store. She never seemed interested in learning about other cultures or my experiences. Whenever I tried to share stuff about my travels or heritage, she'd either make an awkward joke or just not engage. Once, I brought homemade empanadas to a family dinner. I'd spent hours making them from scratch using my grandma's recipe. Vicky took one bite and loudly asked if I'd put dog meat in them, like they do in my country. I was so shocked, I didn't even know how to respond. My mother-in-law quickly said they were delicious, but the damage was done. I just laughed it off at the time, but it really stung. I kind of put these incidents on the back burner for a while. We'd see each other at family gatherings, and things were okay, not great, not awful, just sort of neutral. I'd be polite but not overly friendly. My husband suggested maybe I should try connecting with her one-on-one, but I never felt comfortable doing that after all her comments. Then nothing happened for a month or so. During that time, we were caught up with buying a house, which was a nightmare, and we had to extend our stay with my in-laws. It was a bit awkward, but they were great about it. My father-in-law even offered to help with renovation costs as a wedding gift, which was incredibly generous. I got swamped with work, too. My boss gave me a huge project with a ridiculous deadline, and I was stuck at the office most nights. My husband would bring me dinner, which was sweet, but I was basically a zombie for a few weeks. I didn't have the energy to deal with Vicky or her comments during that time. But just yesterday, I reached my limit with her ignorant remarks she tries to pass off as jokes. Our family has a group chat where we send memes and jokes. My husband usually sends dad jokes that make everyone groan, my mother-in-law sends cute animal videos, and Matt mostly talks about sports. Vicky sometimes doesn't quite read the room and sends inappropriate memes, like one time she sent a meme about people with disabilities. People were being straight up mean, and not even in a funny way, so everyone just ignored it and kept posting other stuff. There was another time when she shared some political thing she thought was hilarious, but it turned out to be pretty offensive to immigrants. My husband privately messaged Matt about it, but as far as I know, Matt never said anything to Vicky. Yesterday, she sent a meme that showed a huge group of immigrants on an inflatable raft in the ocean, with a caption saying, "Where's Jaws when you need him?" I was making lunch when my phone buzzed with the notification. I opened it without thinking much, and then just stood there, stunned. I couldn't believe she'd send something like that to a group that included me, someone whose parents were both immigrants and whose mom fled her country for safety. It felt like a slap in the face. My husband thought it was way too much, and so did his mom. I saw my mother-in-law had reacted with a shocked face emoji, which was notable because she usually tries to stay positive about everything. My husband was sitting across from me at the kitchen table, frowning at his phone. He looked up and said, "That's really inappropriate." I was just like, "Absolutely not." My hands were shaking, and I spilled some coffee on the counter. I was this close to calling her out in the group chat for being a bigot, but my husband stopped me. So, I decided to skip the drama and DM her instead. I took a few deep breaths, took a screenshot of the meme, and sent her a private message. I told her it was a messed up joke, especially since she knows my parents were immigrants and my mom had to flee her country. I tried to explain that joking about people drowning or being eaten by sharks when they're trying to escape for their lives isn't funny, it's cruel and dehumanizing. She started apologizing right away, saying she didn't know, which I found hard to believe. We've known each other for a year and have talked about this before, so I figured she was either lying or conveniently forgetting. Probably both. She always seems to forget things when it's convenient for her. She sent a bunch of messages saying things like, "I'm so sorry, I wasn't thinking, it was just a meme someone sent me, I didn't create it, and I'd never want to hurt you personally." Notice how she was more concerned about hurting me than about joking about actual people dying. That says a lot about her character if you ask me. She deleted the meme from the chat along with her reply, giggling about it when my mother-in-law reacted with a shocked face emoji. But the damage was already done. Everyone saw it, and everyone knew what kind of person she was now. I didn't respond to her messages right away because I needed time to cool down. My husband suggested we go for a walk to clear my head, which helped a bit. When we got back, I had more messages from her asking if I was okay and if we could talk about it. I still didn't respond because I wasn't ready. This morning, she sent me a long message saying how upset she was for upsetting me and that she loves me like a sister. It was full of emotional statements about valuing our relationship and not wanting to hurt me. She said she's educating herself and wants to do better, but didn't specify how. I appreciate the apology, but it really makes me uncomfortable to be around someone who jokes about wishing death on certain people. It's not just a bad joke, it shows how she sees certain groups. Deep down, it's like she doesn't see immigrants as fully human, deserving the same dignity and respect as everyone else. I haven't replied yet. Part of me wants to give her the benefit of the doubt, but another part feels like this is a pattern for her, not just a one-time mistake. She's shown this side of herself multiple times and acts surprised when called out, as if she had no idea her words could hurt. My husband thinks I should at least acknowledge her apology, even if I'm not fully ready to accept it. He says ignoring her might make things even more awkward, especially since we live with his parents and see Matt and Vicky regularly. He suggests telling her I need time and space to process everything before moving forward. I talked to a friend from work about it. She's also an immigrant and was furious on my behalf. She said I shouldn't tolerate that behavior from anyone, family or not. She thinks I should be direct with Vicky about how her jokes affect me and make it clear that I won't be around her if she keeps it up. So, here's the deal. Would I be a jerk if I straight up called her a racist/bigot next time and decided to keep my distance, or should I just accept her apology and let it go? We're literally living with my in-laws while our house deal wraps up, and I don't want to stir up family drama, but I also don't want to keep ignoring her jokes. Update time. A ton of you were asking why I didn't call her out on her racist comment the first time. Honestly, I was just trying to keep things chill and hope she didn't mean it that way. Maybe that was a mistake. As the newcomer in the family, I wasn't sure when to speak up. Some folks thought I was making a big deal out of nothing, but trust me, her comments weren't just a little off-color, they were outright racist. Joking about sharks eating immigrants? Not funny, especially when you know someone's family are immigrants. And for those saying it's just British humor, no, it's not. My husband's British, and he was shocked. Anyway, since my initial post, things got interesting. Vicky sent a long, dramatic apology saying I'm like a sister to her. But let's be real, how can she say that when she doesn't really know or understand me? If I were like a sister, she'd make an effort to get to know me instead of making jokes at my expense. Plus, she only apologized after being called out, not because she realized her mistake. If this was a one-time thing, maybe I'd forgive her. But she's made comments like this before, and never got called out. Now that she did, she's suddenly apologetic. Without being called out, I bet she'd still think those jokes were okay. I took some time to figure out how to handle this and talked it over with my husband. He was super supportive. I also chatted with my mom for some advice without giving her all the details. I didn't want to worry her. She reminded me that I don't have to be friends with everyone, but sometimes I need to coexist with people I don't like. At first, I ignored Vicky's apology, but when she texted me again before our family dinner asking if we were good, all I said was, I accept your apology. I wanted to keep it real without starting a fight, but also make it clear that things aren't just back to normal because she said sorry. Apparently, Vicky took my response as a personal attack. Next thing I know, she's crying to Matt about how mean I am, and they're scared to come to dinner. Seriously? She makes racist comments, sends inappropriate memes, barely apologizes, and somehow I'm the villain because I won't instantly forgive her? I told my husband to explain to his mom that I'm not looking to cause drama, especially in their house, which they've kindly let us stay in. I've accepted Vicky's apology and will be civil, meaning I'll listen and respond if she talks to me, but I won't go out of my way to chat with her. Given everything, I think that's fair. My husband talked to his mom, and she seemed to get it, or at least said she did. She mentioned how stuff like this happens in families and we all say dumb things sometimes, not quite what I wanted to hear, but at least she didn't push me to pretend everything's fine. The day of the dinner, I was anxious all morning, thinking about how to handle things if Vicky or Matt said something. My husband suggested we get there a bit late to avoid awkwardness, so we visited a friend with a new puppy before heading over. We got this invite to meet a cute little terrier mix, so we spent about an hour playing with it. Honestly, it was a great distraction from the dinner I was dreading. Afterwards, we grabbed some coffee and then headed back to my in-laws' place. Walking in, I saw Matt and Vicky on the couch. Matt had this awkward smirk, like when you see someone you really don't like but have to be polite. It threw me off because I thought we were cool. Vicky gave me a tiny hi in this super quiet voice and then seemed to have a deep and meaningful moment with the floor, probably for the best since I wasn't looking at her either. My father-in-law tried to lighten the mood by offering drinks and chatting about some football game, but the vibe was definitely tense. At dinner, I put on a brave face, chatting away to seem unbothered. Meanwhile, Vicky was across the table, acting like the saddest panda, barely touching her food and sighing dramatically. Whenever someone laughed, she'd force a smile that screamed pity me. I just focused on having normal conversations with the rest of the family. I chatted with my mother-in-law about her spring garden plans, discussed a Netflix show with my father-in-law, and asked my husband about work stuff. I was polite but distant with Matt, only responding when he asked something, and completely ignored Vicky unless she directly spoke to me, which happened once when she asked for the salt. Later, I noticed Matt reading a message under the table from Vicky saying she wanted to leave after dinner. Matt, not being subtle, nodded at her. They made some excuse about needing to be up early the next day, which was nonsense since Matt's not an early riser. After they left, my in-laws were upset with my husband, asking why I couldn't just let things go and blaming me for making Vicky feel uncomfortable because I didn't engage with her. My mother-in-law kept saying we're family and should forgive, but she doesn't understand what it's like being on the receiving end of those jokes. My husband tried to back me up, saying I was civil and that Vicky's comments were actually hurtful, but my in-laws were more worried about keeping everyone comfy at dinner than dealing with the real issue. The next morning, my father-in-law had a chat with me while I was making coffee. He said he gets why I'm upset but thinks I should move on for Matt's sake. He doesn't think Vicky's a bad person, just kinda clueless sometimes. I nodded and said I'd think about it, but honestly, I'm tired of always having to be the bigger person. Vicky loves playing the victim card, and now she's trying to make the family think I'm the odd one out because I won't just brush off her dumb joke for family harmony. It's textbook behavior, denying, attacking, and flipping the script to make herself the victim when she was the one who made those inappropriate comments in the first place. I'm a bit stuck because everyone's acting like it's on me to fix this mess, even though I didn't start it. My husband agrees with me but wants to avoid stirring the pot, especially while we're living at his parents' place. I'll update if anything changes, but for now, I'm just trying to steer clear of Vicky without making it obvious to my in-laws. It's so draining trying to handle everyone else's feelings while mine are brushed off as overreacting. Edit. Some folks asked if I've talked directly to Matt. I haven't yet, worried it'll just make him defend Vicky and escalate things. But maybe that's what I need to do next? Not really sure where to go from here.